So, once again, after the winter break, we meet. Good morning, students, and wish you all a very happy new year. Now, today we will continue from where we had left off before the holidays. Uh, the Tempest, Act 3, Scene 1. We will begin with Act 3, Scene 1 of The Tempest, and we had finished up to page 74. And today we will start from page 75 in your textbook. Now, on your screen, you can see the scene and you can understand what is going on. Here you can see Ferdinand, the Prince of Naples, carrying a log of wood, and Miranda trying to help him, trying to take that log of wood from his hands, and he is not ready to give it to her. She is very upset that her father has put Ferdinand into this kind of situation where he has to be punished. He will be punished by the amount of work that he has been given to carry out. And we can see that in the background, we can see Prospero standing and watching. Prospero is actually watching from his cell, and Ferdinand and Miranda are not aware of the fact that Prospero is keeping an eye on both of them. So this is what we are going to see in this scene. Now let me scroll up to that page in particular where the scene begins. I urge all of you to open your textbooks on page 75 and get ready for the introduction of the scene followed by the text of the scene. So I'm scrolling up. Let's go to the very first page of this scene. Here we see Act 3, Scene 1, page 75, and I'll try to zoom in a little bit so that you can have a better view of whatever is coming up on your screen. Act 3, Scene 1, the scene opens with Ferdinand carrying wood willingly to prove his love for Miranda. This is in contrast to the curses which accompanied Caliban's toil at the beginning of the preceding scene, meaning to say that earlier we have seen that Caliban was carrying logs of wood and he was cursing Prospero that he had been asked to do such manual labor. But here Ferdinand is doing it with a kind of willingness because he knows that he is doing it for the sake of Miranda, whom he loves. So he does not mind doing this manual labor, and Miranda is trying, as I showed earlier, trying to stop him and trying to help him, but he wouldn't let her do that. So this scene is in contrast to the scene in which Caliban is carrying the log of wood or the logs of wood. Difference is that Caliban does it unwillingly, whereas Ferdinand is doing it willingly. The love between Ferdinand and Miranda is part of the play's larger pattern of atonement and reconciliation. The purity and innocence of their love atones for the suspicions, hostilities, and betrayals of their father's generation. Prospero is seen here in his godlike role, overseeing two of the creatures carrying out his design. So this is what we are going to see in this short scene. Now I'll be making two videos for this particular scene. Today you are watching part 1, and in your next video tutorial you'll be watching part 2. So let's begin. Let's see what happens in this scene now. Scene 1, before Prospero's cell, enter Ferdinand bearing a log. So the scene is taking place just in front of Prospero's cell, like we saw in that illustration. Ferdinand bearing a log of wood, carrying a log of wood in his arms, in his hands. Now Ferdinand says, as he carries the log of wood, he is saying this to himself. It's a kind of soliloquy of Ferdinand, you could say. There be some sports are painful, and their labor delight in them sets off some kinds of baseness are nobly undergone. What he means to say is that there are some types of physical labor which are difficult to carry out, which are very painful to carry out, but the ultimate outcome of such hard work is something delightful. So even though I am bearing this heavy log of wood in my arms, what he means to say is that even though I am taking pains to carry such huge logs of wood as I have been ordered to do, and even though I am putting in a lot of hard work and it's very difficult for me, I know that the result will be something very pleasant or very delightful. Some kinds of baseness are nobly undergone. What he means to say is that some types of humble occupations, you can see the meanings given alongside, so you can always refer to the meanings of these words and phrases so that you don't have any confusion. So, certain humble occupations are also carried out in the most noble manner. So, in humbleness lies nobility. That is what he means to say. And most poor matters point to rich ends. Meaning is almost the same for all these three things. What he means to say is that things which we hate, which we despise, they sometimes aim at noble results. That means you may hate to do a particular task, you may hate to do a particular piece of work, but then the result is something really very great. Result is something really very positive or profitable. So never complain when you are doing hard work, because the result of hard work is always success, always delight, and always positive. So this is a kind of, you could say, philosophical remark being made here by Ferdinand. He is doing this task most willingly. He is not cursing Prospero. Caliban was cursing Prospero, but here we see Ferdinand not cursing Prospero at all, because he knows that if he can carry out the task given to him, assigned to him, if he can prove his worth to Prospero, then Prospero would allow him to marry his daughter Miranda. And he loves Miranda, and so he considers this not at all something difficult for him, not at all something painful for him. Although it is hard work, he is willingly doing whatever task he has to do. This my mean task would be as heavy to me as odious, but the mistress which I serve quickens what's dead and makes my labors pleasures. He says, this lowly task, this humble task, this poor task which I have been asked to do, it would have seemed very heavy to me. It would have seemed very difficult for me to accomplish had it not been for the lady whom I love, who is always in my mind, about whom I am always constantly thinking. And when I think of her, and when I think about achieving her in the long run, at the end of all this, it makes my task easier, simpler. So it really quickens what's dead. So this is what he means. And then he says, and makes my labors pleasures. So this makes my hard work really very pleasurable. Really very pleasurable. Oh, she is 10 times more gentle than her father's crabbed. What he means to say here is that she, meaning Miranda, is 10 times gentler. More gentle means gentler than her father, who has a very bad temperament, who has a very ill temperament. So she is 10 times gentler than her father. And he is composed of harshness, whereas he is full of roughness, rudeness, harshness. So father is like that, daughter is not like that. I must remove some thousands of these logs and pile them up upon a sore injunction. Now, this is a very painful punishment or injunction which has been levied on me, which has been put upon me, that I have to pile up nearly 1,000 of these logs. And it's a very painful task, I know. My sweet mistress weeps when she sees me work and says, such baseness had never like executor. Which means that a person who is so wonderful like me was probably never given such a lowly task to execute. So she feels upset. She feels upset that a wonderful person like me has been given such a base, such a lowly task to do, and something which she feels that I had never been given before. So it is really unworthy of me to do a task like this or to carry out a task like this. So she weeps and she says this: I forget, but these sweet thoughts do even refresh my labors. So Ferdinand says that, actually, when I do this task, even if it is a base, very lowly task, such thoughts about what my mistress thinks and feels while she watches me do this kind of task really makes my hard work easier. I enjoy doing this work because she is so upset and she feels so much for me carrying out such a task. So when I think about it, I start feeling relaxed and I start feeling happier. And then this hard work does not seem to be like hard work to me anymore. Most busy least when I do it. Meaning to say, I feel that I am the least busy when I carry out such a task. That means busier when I am least busy. So, by actually working and keeping myself busy, I consider myself to be the least busy. So, this is what Ferdinand thinks. We must remember that Ferdinand is constantly thinking about Miranda, and so doing this heavy job which he has been asked to do has become a lot easier for him. And then he says, well, not exactly, enter Miranda and Prospero at a distance, unseen. So that is the scene which you saw in the beginning of this video or in the thumbnail of this video. Miranda enters the scene and Prospero tries to keep himself unseen so that Miranda does not know that he is following her. And it is Miranda who approaches Ferdinand basically and speaks. Let's see what she says. Miranda says, alas, now pray you. So with that, we come to the end of page 75. Move on to page 76. Alas, now pray you. Alas, now is just an expression of great shock or surprise. She is unable to tolerate or bear the very sight of how Ferdinand is bearing the log of wood in his arms, being a prince. So Miranda says, work not so hard. I would the lightning had burnt up these logs that you are enjoined to file. So Miranda says, I request you, please don't work so hard. I really wish that the lightning from the sky had burnt up these logs so that you wouldn't have to carry them and pile them up. If the logs had been burnt completely by the lightning bolt, then this would not have really been assigned to you. Pray, set it down and rest you. Please put down that log which you are carrying. Please take some rest. Give some rest to your arms. Give some rest to your body. When this burns, 'twill weep for having wearied you. When this piece of log burns in the fire later on, because this is nothing but firewood that Ferdinand has been asked to pile up. So when this burns, it will produce bubbles of water as if the log was crying. So it will cry when it burns. Normally what happens is when wood is not completely dry, when a log of wood is not absolutely dry from inside, if you put it in fire, if one end of the log starts burning, from the other end you can see bubbles of water coming out or forming. That's because of the tremendous heat which is now passing through the center of the log, and so the water starts evaporating and bubbling out from the other side. the opposite end, which is not burning. So that is the phenomena which Miranda is referring to here. She is saying that when this log burns in the fire, it will weep for having made you work so hard, for having made you tired. My father is hard at study. Pray now, rest yourself. Now my father is busy in his with his books, in his learning process. He is studying, he is busy, he is right now busy with his books. He is not going to come and see you whether you are doing the work or sitting down and resting. So I request you, please take some rest. He is safe for these 3 hours. So he's safe, meaning to say that my father will not be here for at least the next 3 hours. I know it is quite safe right now for you to sit down, take some rest. Ferdinand says, O most dear mistress, the sun will set before I shall discharge what I must strive to do. Well, you see, actually, I have to finish my task before sunset. I have been told to do this piece of work and finish it before the sun goes down. So, my dear mistress, let me do my work. Miranda says, if you will sit down, I'll bear your logs the while. Pray, give me that, I'll carry it to the pile. If you take some rest, I will carry that log for you so that time is not wasted. You can also get your rest. In the meantime, I will carry the logs. Give me that log. I will take it to that pile over there. Now, Miranda has never carried heavy logs of wood. Being a woman, being a young girl, her father has never made her work in this way. But right now, she is offering to help Ferdinand with the task, because Ferdinand says that before sunset he must pile up all the logs of wood. So Miranda says, give me that log, I'll carry it for you while you can take some rest. Of course, Ferdinand won't let her do that. So Ferdinand says, no, precious creature, I had rather crack my sinews, break my back, than you should such dishonor undergo while I sit lazy by. No, my precious darling, you are a precious creature for me. I cannot allow you to do this kind of work. I would rather have my nerves and muscles crack. I would rather have my back being broken before I should let you do such a dishonorable task while I sit and watch you do it like a lazy man. I cannot do that. I will do my task. Please, you will not do it. Miranda says, it would become me as well as it does you. So Miranda says, it will be just a suitable task for me. If it is suitable for you, then let it be suitable for me too. I mean, if you can do it, I can also do it. So just give it to me, I'll do it. And I should do it with much more ease, for my goodwill is to it. She says that I will be able to do this task much more easily than you, because I have a willingness to do it. I will do it most willingly. I am asking you to give me the log. That means I am willing to do it, and I am expressing my willingness to do it. So I can do it in a much easier way than you. And yours it is against, because you don't really have a will to do this. It's against your will. You have been forced to do this. But I am asking you to give me the log. I am willing to do this. So that there lies the difference. I'll be able to do this task in a much easier way than you. But Ferdinand was, just before Miranda's arrival, Ferdinand was talking about how willingly he is doing this task. Whenever he is carrying this log or logs, he keeps on thinking about Miranda, and so his task becomes easier. So he has already said that. So as audience, as readers, we know what he has said in his soliloquy in the beginning of the scene, when he was talking to himself before Prospero and Miranda arrived. So Miranda doesn't know that, and Miranda is thinking that probably Ferdinand will agree to give him the log of wood, which he is denying at the moment. Prospero, in the meantime, who is watching everything, speaks aside. Aside is only meant for the audience, only meant for us, the readers, and not for the characters present on the stage. And what does Prospero say? Prospero says, "Poor worm, thou art infected." Prospero refers to Miranda as poor worm. Just as a worm is a helpless creature, so also are you, my daughter. A term of pity. You can see the meaning explained alongside. You are infected, meaning to say you have caught the infection of love. You have fallen in love. This visitation shows it. That's the reason why you are visiting this particular place at the moment. You are visiting Ferdinand and trying to help him, which proves that you are in love with Ferdinand. Miranda, in the meantime, has no idea that her father is watching and her father is commenting. Miranda continues to talk to Ferdinand and she says, "You look wearily, you look very tired. Take rest." Ferdinand says, "No, noble mistress, 'tis fresh morning with me when you are by at night." "No, my dear noble mistress, it's just like fresh morning for me when you are present or near me, even if it is night." So, in the darkness of the night, also, if you give your presence, if you come near me, it feels like fresh morning. So, I am not tired. You are here. Seeing you, I am all refreshed. I do beseech you, chiefly that I might set it in my prayers. What is your name? I do request you so that I can set it in my prayers. Whenever I pray to God, I can pray about your well being. I can also pray about God blessing me with the grace of achieving you. So please tell me your name. What is your name? Miranda says, "Miranda, oh my father, I have broke your hest to say so. My name is Miranda." She is so much in love that she forgets that she has promised her father not to talk to Ferdinand and not even go and stand before him or even disclose anything about herself to him, not even give him her name. But when Ferdinand has asked, Miranda tells him her name. She says, "My name is Miranda." And as soon as she says it, she regrets, she is upset. She says, "Oh, my dear father, I have broken the promise which I had made to you. You told me not to tell him my name, but I have said it by mistake." So with that, we come to the end of page 76 and we are moving on to page 77. And Ferdinand, as soon as Ferdinand hears the name, Ferdinand says, "Admired Miranda, regarded with admiration." Okay, so you are Miranda. That's wonderful. Indeed, the top of admiration. Indeed, it's really, really wonderful. In simpler terms, you are at the top of any admiration that I've ever had for anyone. Worth what's dearest to the world. You are worth, your value is equivalent to what is the most expensive or the most valuable object on earth. So you are the most valuable object. You are like the most valuable object on earth. And then he says, "Full many a lady I have eyed with best regard." Well, I have seen many virtuous and beautiful ladies, and I have regarded them with my eyes in the best possible way. Full many a lady I have eyed with best regard, and many a time the harmony of their tongues hath into bondage brought my too diligent ear. And many a times I have been influenced by, affected by, touched by the beautiful melodious voices of such gracious ladies. I have often been impressed by their beautiful words, the way they have spoken to me, the way they have interacted with me. I have often been impressed by many of them. I have paid attention. My ears have diligently heard whatever they were, or they have been telling me. For several virtues, I liked several women, and for several good qualities, I have liked several women. I have liked, never any with so full soul. But then I must admit today before you, though I have seen and met and heard and spoken and observed and appreciated many beautiful women, I have never met someone so beautiful as you, so good as you, and I have never ever loved anyone with so full a soul than you. But some defect in her did quarrel with the noblest grace she owed. So, of all these ladies, beautiful ladies that I have met at different times in different places, there have been many good qualities, no doubt, but each had some negativity or some drawback or some flaw because of which ultimately I could not love her. So, that being said, when I compare those ladies with you, Miranda, I feel that you don't have any such flaw. In you, I don't see any negativity. In comparison to the ladies I have met, I have liked, I have admired, you are the best. So, so did quarrel with the noblest grace she owed and put it to the foil. Meaning to say that there was some flaw or the other in these ladies whom I have met before, and that's the reason the whole idea of falling in love with any of them was totally given up. But you, oh you, so perfect and so peerless, but you, oh you, Miranda, you are so perfect. You are so peerless. Peerless means one who had no comparison, no no one similar in the world, unique in every sense. So you are so peerless, are created of every creature's best. You seem to have been created with the qualities of every creature's, every creature's best qualities. So you have been created with the qualities, with the best qualities of each and every creature. You don't seem to have any negative aspect in your nature, in your character. Everything is positive, everything is at its best. And that's the reason I love you with all my heart, with all my soul. So this is Ferdinand's remark, and this is where we will stop. That is line number 57 of page 77, and this is the part 1 of the of this particular video of Act 3, Scene 1, and we will continue in our next video tutorial from page 77, line 58, Act 3, Scene 1. So that's it for now. Thank you so much.